Anandabhiwanshaya. Anandaye Anandaniya Vanshakatabe Anandabhishekayai.
In January 1890, 24-year-old James Alfred Ernst Buultjens took over as the first Ceylonese principal of Ananda College, and in the next 9 years gave exemplary leadership not only to Ananda but to other institutions of Buddhist education as well. Born in Madugalle on the 6th of November 1865 into a strictly Christian household, Buultjens attended St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia. He was an outstanding student who managed to finish his school career, winning the coveted government university scholarship in an open competition, which enabled him to join St. John's College in Cambridge. His university studies included history and political economy, and one of his teachers was Alfred Marshall, a pioneer in economics. During his time in England, Buultjens actively took responsibility in certain civic duties, and this exposure made him lose faith in both the country of England and Christianity. More importantly, after his return to Sri Lanka, he committed himself to Buddhism. In his speech, Why I Became a Buddhist, he states that he was compelled upon sincere conviction to give up beliefs, and that it became necessary to wrench those beliefs away from heart and mind. At one point, Buultjens was shocked to see London, a city every Ceylonese assumed to be perfection itself, for what it really was. A city of horrors, where the rich lived luxurious lives, while the poor were left homeless and starving in thousands. In 1887, he graduated with honours from Cambridge University with a Bachelor of Arts in History and returned to Ceylon the following year a changed man. His inspiration to seek Buddhism is categorically illustrated in one of his writings, where he says that the Buddhists were looked down upon by the more civilized people, the Christians, and that they were being ostracized as they were in lower classes in society. In 1888, he converted himself to Buddhism under the guidance of Venerable Badigama Ratnapala at the Valivaria temple. Buultjens' name was removed from the roll of honours of his alma mater as retaliation to his commitment to Buddhism, but later reinstated under the board-marked English university scholarships. Colonel Olcott describes the missionary school system as the most aristocratic, and further says that conversion to Anglican Christianity from Buddhism or Hinduism was a passport to worldly advancements. Buultjens became relentlessly involved with the activities of the Buddhist Theosophical Society. Working alongside Anagarika Dharmapala and Colonel Olcott, he was profiled as a highly educated burgher who impressed the Buddhists with his erudition and commitment. The English Buddhist school at Prince Street was ineligible for government grants, but Colonel Olcott was able to negotiate with the necessary individuals to get the school recertified under the condition that the school will move back to its original location in Maliban Street, Petta. Therefore, in March 1890, the school was moved back, and a few months later was eligible for government grants. It was during this time that a true patriot bid farewell to an island that was in the making. Prominent activist orator monk Venerable Migettuwatte Gunananda, who actively took part in fight against the oppression and discrimination of Buddhists, while society as a whole was passive and in submission to such crimes, passed away on the 21st of September 1890 as a 67-year-old monk born in Balapidia on the 9th of February 1823. His voice, that echoed between continents, made way for the independence we celebrate today. Major developments occurred during Buultjens' tenure. A considerable increase in attendance indicates the advancement of enthusiasm among students, as well as the quality of education of the English Buddhist school. School's monthly fee had to be increased by 39 rupees as a result of accommodating more students. Government grant allocation increased by 114 rupees and 50 cents, which again proves the improvement in the quality of education. The need for a playground had also come to the administration's attention. S.A. Vijaytilaka's article Swaddling Clothes in the college magazine states that D.J. Vimalasurendra, who won the General Proficiency Prize for Standard 7 during Buultjens' tenure at the 1890 prize giving, was also able to win an award at the hands of the Director of Public Instructions and later went on to become one of Ceylon's foremost engineers. This set a precedent that inspired a community to offer prizes for competitions at Ananda College, and the prizes offered were by Dr. Bowles Daly, a guinea for Ceylon history, Mr. K.M. Shroff, a guinea for gymnastics, Mr. P. Holly, a guinea for the best essay, Mr. Pastonji Khan, a guinea for the most truthful boy selected by his school fellows, Mr. Y.H. Alip, a guinea for punctuality, Pandit Batuantudwe, a guinea for Sinhalese classics, and Mr. Martinus C. Perera, a prize for Buddhism. However, during Buultjens' tenure, Ananda College was only able to establish itself as a middle school based on facilities and resolves. During this time period, a long overdue question on Buddhist female education came into place. Colonel Olcott held the perception that the mother was the first teacher, and therefore educating mothers would be the best action in creating the next generation of Buddhists. Another reason that fueled this cause was the patriarchal idea that education of Buddhist women would form a generation of compatible wives for Buddhist men. This, however, created a controversial atmosphere within the Buddhist Theosophical Society. Fortunately, the Women's Education Society, also known as the Nari Shiksha Dana Sangamaya, led by President Mrs. Veerakon, was formed on the 30th of March 1889. This organization received support from the Buddhist Theosophical Society and foreign institutions. It further received support from the Buddhist newspaper. The paper itself called out the active Buddhist community for its lack of support in this endeavor. The Nari Shiksha Dana Sangamaya initiated their activity by establishing small Sinhala medium schools. The society then started the English medium Sangamita Girls' School with 20 pupils in a rented house called Tichborne Hall at Maradana on the 18th of October 1890. The inauguration saw speeches by Mrs. Veerakon, Colonel Olcott, Ponnambalam Ramanathan and Buultjens, the manager of Sangamita. And it was graced by the presence of Venerable Hikkaduwe Sri Sumangala, Anagarika Dharmapala, Pandit Batuantudwe, Mudaliyar Tuda Rajapaksa, and Dr. Bowles Daly. Miss Mary Mucius Higgins, the German wife of a theosophist, was involved with Sangamita during her tenure as the president of the Nari Shiksha Dana Sangamaya. However, due to certain differences of opinion that arose between Peter Diabru, a member and philanthropist of the Buddhist Theosophical Society, and Buultjens regarding the management of Sangamita, she left the NSDS and began another school by the name Mucius Buddhist Girls' School in a mud hut on Rosmead Place, which was donated by Diabru. Buultjens was strongly involved in activism and was a frontline activist in the quarter-mile rule, which was introduced in 1891, which in effect acted against the development of non-Catholic based education in Sri Lanka. In the Buddhist newspaper, Buultjens describes this rule as a death blow to the cause of the Buddhist and Hindu education in the island. This is recognized as a crucial moment in Buultjens' role in activism, especially due to his Burgher lineage, regardless of the British administration not submitting to the opposition led by him. On the 16th of June 1894, Colonel Olcott was appointed to represent matters to the Colonial Office in London, and Buultjens was the primary author of the petition, which in turn made the Secretary of State concede the quarter-mile rule, as the petition had over 2,000 signatures of well-reputed monk and laymen, albeit without compensation for the costs that were borne as a result of the rule in the first place. Buultjens' activism further extended in acting as the voice for the struggle of the working-class man, and he was recognized as the first person to introduce ideas of trade unionism to Ceylon by Kumari Jayawardena, a renowned activist. He was able to inspire printing workers to strike after publishing an article in the radical paper The Independent Catholic, and later went on to establish the Ceylon Printers Union and acted as its secretary. In the government grant-in-aid examination held in December 1891, the English Buddhist School achieved an 80% pass and a much larger grant. The number of students was on the rise, reaching a total of 200 by September 1892. In the same year, a fund was established to improve the infrastructure facilities at the premises. The Buddhist Defense Committee, established in 1883, named Buultjens as the Vice President on the 7th of May 1892, and he used his position as the editor of the Buddhist to provoke debate regarding the undemocratic administration of the British. In 1892, though the number of students increased significantly, the school building remained in constant figures. As a consequence, many admissions of students who wanted accommodation were declined. A committee managing the funds was established later that year and was given the responsibility to raise funds to expand the premises of the school. This eventually led to the relocation of the school to its present location in Maradana on the 17th of August 1895 and was renamed Ananda College, after one of Lord Buddha's 10 principal disciples. Buultjens' tenure can be profiled as one with expeditious development with the rise of student enrollments and the relocation of the school. During this time period, the schools belonging to the BTS increased from 15 to 100, and the government grants received increased eightfold. In November 1897, Buultjens requested for a deputy, and D.B. Jayatillaka, who was the principal of Dharmaraja College, was appointed as the vice principal of Ananda College in February 1898. On the 15th of December the same year, Buultjens had to leave as a result of ill health, at the age of 33, having been principal at Ananda College for only 9 years. Vice Principal D.B. Jayatillaka was appointed in his place after his resignation. Buultjens was a passionate activist, not for a homogeneous nation, but in communicating the truth those who believed, and creating justice in a world that is unjust. As a leader, he fought not only against an oppressor, but also against the patriarchy and the rights of the working class. Buultjens realized the triviality of certain human ways of life and sought mental and spiritual enlightenment.